Put your sunglasses on, let the sun shine in. Welcome back to A Chat in the Sun, the podcast where we explore how solar energy is shaping a brighter, smarter and more sustainable future. I'm your host, Beth, and today we're diving into the final piece of the solar puzzle, the one that turns intermittent energy into true reliability. We're talking about energy storage. We often hear that the sun doesn't always shine, and that's true, but with the right technology, we can make solar energy available 24/7. That's where TrinaStorage comes in. As part of the Trinasolar ecosystem, TrinaStorage isn't just offering batteries, it's offering solutions that can complete the clean energy cycle. But what does that really mean? How do storage systems work? And how are they being used right now in Europe and beyond? What role do they play in the path to net zero? So whether you're new to the world of storage or already speaking in kilowatt hours, this episode will help you connect the dots and see the full picture. Let's get started. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to set the stage. TrinaStorage isn't just a product line, it's a statement of intent. Backed by over 28 years of solar innovation from Trinasolar, it's tackling one of the biggest challenges in renewables: how to store clean energy efficiently, safely and at scale. Today we're joined by a mix of voices, people from TrinaStorage and a key partner from Power Electronics. Together we'll talk about real projects, real challenges and real solutions. But first, let's meet our guests today. Enrique Machuca, Senior Sales Engineer at TrinaStorage with over 12 years of experience in the energy storage sector across Germany, the UK and Spain. He's worked in areas such as electric vehicles, household batteries and utility-scale BESS, holding technical and commercial roles at companies like Dyson and Saft. Enrique brings a strong focus on innovation, technical excellence and project delivery to Trina's energy storage solutions. We have Natalia Cotrino, Key Account Manager for the module business at Trinasolar, who brings over 10 years of experience in the solar industry across Europe, the Middle East and Latin America. She combines technical and commercial expertise and will bring valuable solar energy insights into today's energy storage conversation. And finally, Diego Ferrer, LATAM Sales Manager at Power Electronics, with over a decade of experience spanning oil and gas, petrochemicals, solar energy and storage. Diego has led engineering and sales efforts across Latin America. Before joining Power Electronics, he held key roles at Pemex, Mexico's state oil company. Today, he leverages his broad energy background to strengthen client relationships and drive innovation in the region's energy transition. All right, it's time for one of our favourite moments in A Chat in the Sun. Welcome to ping-pong questions. You can imagine how it goes. Quick questions, quick answers, like a proper match. But behind the speed, we always discover something unexpected about our guests. It's our way of getting to know them a little bit better, beyond the solar panels and megawatt hours. So Enrique is going to be my first guest. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What's your current city?
Sevilla.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's your favourite time of day?
After work.
One word to describe TrinaStorage.
Reality.
How many countries have you worked in?
Actually 3, Germany, UK and now in Spain.
What's the most exciting energy market right now?
I would say Eastern Europe and hopefully Spain very soon.
One word that your friends would use to describe you.
I think friendly.
What's the first thing you check on your phone in the morning?
I like to check the news, what happens in the world, and also check my social networks.
And one word to describe the future of energy.
I would say sustainable.
Oh, out.
You lose.
Still, great match.
Thank you.
Energy storage might not be new, but the way Trina approaches it is. With full control from cell to system, a global vision and a strong solar legacy, TrinaStorage is changing how we think about batteries. So let's talk about what really matters, how these solutions work, where they're being deployed, and what's next. So let's get started. Welcome Enrique, welcome Natalia, welcome Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to start by asking you about the big question that's probably on everyone's lips right now. The blackout in Spain. On the 28th of April, Spain had the worst power blackout in its history. Did the power outage have anything to do with energy storage? Could the energy storage have prevented the blackout? Can you give me your reflections on that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your question, Beth. Yes, Trina products, Elementor 2 Pro and Elementor 3 just launched last month on Intersolar event, can support, indeed, with fast response time, delivering energy in milliseconds by supporting the grid during frequency drops and voltage deviations. It has also some grid forming potential. Here, the battery energy storage system plays a key role by stabilizing the grid during frequency drops with fast response time and injecting reactive power for voltage stability, allowing the grid to become more stable even when short circuits, thanks to the pairing with the right PCS. Additionally, I would like to add that the thermal management, thanks to the liquid cooling, it's provide more stability. It allows the system to be more reliable under stress operation. And finally, it supports during all blackout phase, from grid support before the event to the Blackouts service, let's say, during the recovery phase.
So we're talking about storage systems like the Elementor 2 Pro system. And what can you tell me in terms of fast response times?
Well, the systems can provide a response time in milliseconds, and this is crucial for grid supporting, because everything happens very soon, very quick.
Yes, between 12:33 and 12:34 in the case of our big blackout.
Exactly. And regarding the grid forming, the grid forming that all the people is talking about, this is a technology that allows power conversion systems. Diego will, of course, talk to you about later. Generates the angle and the voltage of the grid, acting as a grid generator, allowing to get greater stability and control to the electrical system.
Diego, what can you add to that?
Well, as a personal opinion, I would say, and basically as a really quick and short conclusion, yes, storage systems could prevent the blackout in Spain. Why? Basically, everything that Enrique has said. The battery energy storage systems, basically, they can give fast frequency response. They are designed to give grid support capabilities to basically withstand any kind of, let's say, overload or frequency drop that might happen on the grid. So yes, I think the energy storage systems could prevent that case that happened during the blackout. Indeed, the let's say the functionality required in that specific moment was the fast frequency response. Once the grid goes in blackout mode, that happens here in Spain, basically you have the grid and you need the grid forming functionality from the PCS point of view. Basically, that means that the PCS need to first start on what is called the black start. That is basically the PCS to be ready to start operation without a grid, without a value of frequency and voltage. That basically is what black start means. And after that, to start running in grid forming mode. In that case, not only means to start working on grid forming mode, but also on current source. As a current source basically means that you are working as a, let's say, synchronous machine, as a central of gas, of carbon, the thermal ones. But basically you are working in that same way, but with the storage, with battery energy storage systems. So basically in that case, with the energy storage system, you could either prevent the blackout or work to have the grid again faster. Because one topic is the blackout that happened in Spain, and another topic is that we needed 12 hours to have the grid again.
Yes.
It was too much.
It's a very long time.
It's a very long time. So the energy storage system could, one, prevent the blackout, and two, have the grid again faster.
So PCS technology
Yeah.
is really playing a role in prevention and also just in re-establishing
Exactly.
supply as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Because it was a huge incident for us here in Spain. And Natalia, can you tell me what role did renewables play in the recent blackout?
Well, I think right now politically there are a lot of opinions, but the reality is that we do not know what generated the blackout. And from a very technical point of view, I think it's, let's say, very dubious to say it's fault of renewables, because renewables have been what they have been since 2000s, that they have been in the utility market. I mean, they work with the sun, they have their ups and their downs, but renewables have always been like that. I mean, we all know how they work. So for it to be pinpoint, especially on solar, that it's fault of those type of energies makes no sense, because the general blackout was of an entire country, of an energy that is very mature and very well known. And I think that if something renewables have brought to the table is the increase of controls. I mean, you have inverters, you have SCADAs, you have a lot of data of control systems that actually help the grid. I think the key here is that the grid has been designed under conventional energies. I mean, the grid we have has been thought for conventional energies. And now we are in a time where we're doing this transition and the grid needs to speed up. It has to update. And it's very clear for all of us in this sector that storage is the solution, in part from what Diego is saying, not only to sustain, but as well to pick up when there are problems, but also because in terms of clean energy, storage is the way to go. Storage is what is going to bring out the possibility of taking away conventional energy sources.
So it's a question of adapting the grid infrastructure to the current situation.
Yeah, I believe that it's it.
That's a really great answer, thank you. Okay, so let's move on and talk about some real projects and some real challenges that we're seeing. Enrique, what's on the ground? What's going down?
So what I can see from the requests from the customers, and they are paying really a lot of attention in higher cyclability. So the customers are requesting now greater than 10,000 cycles. With the new Elementa 2 Pro and Elementa 3, we can deliver up to 15,000 cycles at cell level. Also, another hot topic is round-trip efficiency, which is the efficiency of a full cycle between charge and discharge. Thanks to the new liquid cooling system, we can decrease the auxiliary consumptions, resulting in a better improvement of round-trip efficiency, especially crucial for long storage duration. Another thing that is becoming really, really critical is the noise emission of the system. Even though you may think it's a system somewhere in the middle of the road, no one complains. But yeah, you have to comply with restrictive site regulations, and this is key for getting awarded some projects. So thanks to the new noise technology and new noise models, we can provide as low as 65 dB decibels. Also, customers now they want to know what happens outside of the baseline case, and see what is the performance of the battery outside of the, let's say, the standard cycle, and see what happens under different conditions and different scenarios. So from my side, this is the most relevant topics, I would say, regarding what the customer wants to pay attention now.
I suppose also temperature resilience, that's
Yes,
adapting.
Indeed, this is also very crucial to build systems that work under extreme conditions, so we can provide an operation range from -30 to 55 degrees Celsius.
55, wow.
Yeah, it's
Although
warm.
we may be seeing that in some Spanish summers.
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely.
And Diego, what do you have to add to that?
Well, right now, due to basically the blackout here in Spain and all different experiences that we have had in different kind of markets like Australia, United Kingdom, United States, and Chile, that basically are the ones that are advancing really fast on energy storage systems. But everything right now, absolutely everything and every single market is moving to grid forming. So regarding the PCS, Basically, everything needs to have the grid forming or be ready to do the grid forming, maybe not right now, but 2 or 3 years from now. There are some projects that maybe they are being built right now and they were not designed for basically grid support capabilities. They were designed maybe just for arbitrage or another business case. But maybe those projects or most of the projects regarding the storage with batteries, most of them will be required to be working on grid forming mode, giving synthetic inertia and everything. So all on PCS point of view, everything needs to be ready. To be honest, these kind of functionalities are mostly software. There is not big hardware developed for these kind of functionalities. Mostly software. On our case, on power electronics, we have developed this software since a very long time, and actually we have had grid forming projects since 2018, 2019. So we have a really big experience with these kind of projects, and all of our PCS are able to do it. So from our side, basically, it's just to like switching the software on and start working on grid forming mode. That basically is that, and on a personal opinion, all the grids from all over the world needs to go that way. And talking personally about Spain, despite it's connected to France, Spain is like a big island geographically. So you need the storage. That's it. And as Natalia was saying, you need to get rid of the conventional energy generation of all the gas, the thermal, and everything. If you want to get rid of it, you need storage, and you need grid forming, and you need black start, and you need synthetic inertia. So basically, all the technology is already developed, and it's already tested. Australia, United Kingdom, Italy, United States, it's already tested. It works. It's better than the conventional stuff. So why don't we use it here?
And talking about progress and transition, do you think the client's expectations have changed over the last couple of years?
Yes. Why? Because a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years, basically most of the storage projects were only designed, or the business case was mostly regarding arbitrage. One case, for example, is Chile. Chile has a really particular situation in the country where basically the energy price during the day of the solar plants is nearly zero. So basically you are paid nothing for your solar generation. But at 6 or 7 p.m., the price goes from 0 to 150, 120 US dollars per megawatt hour. So in that case, most of the storage projects are designed for arbitrage. Basically, you will storage energy during the day and inject it during the night. That's it. But what happens? In Chile, there was also a blackout 2 months ago. And it was a little bit worse than the one that we had here in Spain.
Gosh.
So right now in Chile, all the projects that are actually under delivery, they are now requesting like, hey, I want the grid forming. And it's like, okay, you already have it. But it's like all the markets are moving that way. So that's why, and basically that's what the customers are expecting, that the equipments that they install today to be ready for the requirements of the future. It's a really complex situation because you don't know what is going to be needed 5 years from now. So how do you design a product for some requirements 5 years from now? It's impossible. So basically you need to make sure that the product and the equipment that you select for your project today is the best one possible for maybe the topics that you will be requested in the future.
And linking into that, which storage-related trends are most relevant for your business this year?
Grid forming. That is, let's say, yes, that is like the trend. To be honest, in Australia, it's like a normal thing right now. And actually, there's one trend that is coming. It's like the big topic of the future that is called the seamless transition. What is the seamless transition? One topic is that you may be required to work on a grid forming mode. But when you are not required to work on a grid forming mode, you are working on grid following. That is like the standard. All the energy generation, most of them works at grid following. That basically you follow the grid because the grid exists. So you flow with it. But when the grid is not working well, you need to form it. So that is the grid forming. So what is the seamless transition? Basically is to jump from A to B, to jump from grid following to grid forming. It seems like a really easy thing to do, But on a software point of view, it's really complex. Why? Because of the response time. You need to jump from A to B maybe in less than 200 milliseconds. So it's really fast
Yes.
because that could be the difference that you have a blackout or not.
Yes.
And it's really important not to have a blackout. So that's why it's really important. It's really difficult, and we are already developing it. And actually, we are going to test it now in some projects.
And do different regions or different countries prioritize things differently when we're talking about deploying storage?
I mean, of course, it's very dependent of what type of grid you have. I mean, grid forming in islands such as UK is extremely important, and that's why UK has such an advanced amount of gigawatt hours installed regarding storage. Here we have a very big important mix of conventional energy as well. In France, there's a lot of nuclear energy as well. So we have taken too much time, especially putting out the playfield on how storage is going to be involved. And I think that even with the blackout, as bad as it is, it's like a wake-up call. We have to make storage work. And especially in Spain and the European Union, I think they have lacked motivation to put what is that type of laws, as standards. How do we pass from grid following to grid forming? What are the merge part of storage? Like, for example, in Chile, with arbitrage, where is the money? In Spain, we still haven't had like a very strong concept of how storage economically is viable. And I mean, on the ground, as we were saying, right now, a lot of people are ready to invest in storage, but they need to understand how is the financial model from here to 30 years on storage. And I think that is something that is lacking.
And talking about clients, have you had any unusual or maybe surprising requests from clients lately?
Yes, indeed. There were some cases where, due to still to the compliance with site regulations, they want the containers color in a specific color. It's not because they want to be fancy. It's because there are some regulations where some colors are prohibited, and they have to doesn't cause an impact on the environment. Obviously, apart from this, which is maybe the funny topic, the noise is key. Is key. I mean, some customers this is the very first restriction they highlight, and if we really cannot comply with this, then you are lost.
Yeah. And end of story.
Yeah, end of story. Storage.
And Natalia, why is solar and storage the winning combo in terms of grid resilience?
Well, I am a very strong advocate of storage and of solar. Solar for me is like the most universal form of energy. I mean, in the end, you want 200 megawatts, well, you put a lot of modules. You want it for a house, you put it for a house. So in the end, you have the way of flexibilizing energy, making it available, doesn't matter where in the world, but you have the restriction of you have nighttime or very low irradiance days, and what is the key solution to that? Well, a battery. Yeah. So the reality is that solar with storage is energy for everyone, for everybody, anywhere, in any location. I mean, you have a community lost in the tropical forest. With solar, with storage, they have the capability of having a grid for themselves. And it's like bringing energy to everyone. And prices right now are very competitive. So I think it's a way, of improving not only the easy energy or what we were talking about, having sustainable energy, lower emissions. It's bringing energy to a lot of people.
So a real winning combo.
Yeah.
And an unlimited source of clean energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking towards the future, what do you think is coming next? Which technologies and which products are going to define the near future in terms of solar energy?
So with the new Elementa 2 Pro and the new Elementa 3, we're getting a higher energy density, which means get a higher capacity fitting in the same container, which is a standard 20-feet container. This is thanks to the new higher energy density cell. We are also improving a lot the footprint thanks to the compact mirror design, which is we get a denser DC layout with only 150 millimeters side to side and 600 millimeters back to back, so resulting obviously in a better footprint. Then we also can provide zero degradation on first year, which may sound a bit strange, but thanks to the smarter cell chemistry and manufacturing process, we can improve this, improving the cell capacity from the beginning of life, from the manufacturing.
And Enrique, what technical innovations in Elementor 2 Pro and Elementor 3 are you most excited about?
So definitely higher energy density. So we can fit a higher capacity in the same container, which is a standard 20-feet container. Mm-hmm. We can also provide a compact mirror layout. We get a denser DC layout with only 150 millimeters side to side and 600 millimeters back to back, resulting in a better footprint. Mm-hmm. We can also provide better, easier transportation and modularity because now the systems with higher capacity cells are becoming heavier, and the customers want these to be easy, and we can provide a solution which is depopulating partially the containers. So we transport the containers partially assembled and then finalize the assembly on site. Mm-hmm. And the first year with zero degradation, which may sound a bit strange, but we can get to it thanks to the smarter cell chemistry and improvements on the manufacturing process.
Mm-hmm. And Diego, how about from your company? What technical improvements are you focusing on for your PCS or transformers?
Well, to be honest, from our side, on a PCS level, basically is to continue with the matching with the new trends of the battery. Basically, Enrique has already explained the new features to come on the new Elementa generation from Trina. So from our side, basically, we are also increasing the rated power of the PCS. We will launch the next year the Gen 3 Plus generation of our PCS, that basically we are jumping. Right now, we are on 4.2, 4.4 megawatts of rated power. Next year, we will be working at 5.2 megawatts. So on a, let's say, PCS hardware point of view, we are going now with more power. On a software point of view, basically is to strengthen the functionalities that we already have. The grid forming, the seamless transition that I already talked about, and basically is to see the new trends that the grid operators are going to request. Because right now, the hot topic and basically all the grid operators are talking about is grid forming, synthetic inertia, and what is going to come is the seamless transition that I already discussed. So right now, it's like these are the topics. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what is going to happen in maybe 2 or 3 years. Because one topic right now is also another that Natalia was discussing is that, okay, right now, all the grids are working on a conventional point of view, but with renewable energies. But let's see what is going to be requested. Imagine a topic that you have one grid that is 100% renewable with solar and wind. So maybe not only grid forming and seamless transition is going to be requested. Maybe there's more to come that is going to be requested. So from our side, we are always and absolutely always discussing hand to hand with the grid operators. Mm-hmm. We have really good relationship, for example, with AEMO in Australia, who is the one that puts, basically who is the one that sets the first grid requirements in the world. And we were discussing with them how they are going to request it, how the PCS was requested to be working. And basically we were always one step in front of everybody because we were always discussing with basically the one that put the normatives. So we always know the trends in advance, and we are always one step ahead on a technological point of view.
Okay, and how do you approach balancing innovation with long-term reliability in your designs?
Well, that's a good question. To be honest, from our side, our main focus is always R&D. Mm-hmm. So our R&D department is plus 300 engineers that they are always working on new trends, new technologies. How do we improve our PCS? And I said, right now we see that the next trend on batteries point of view is 6 megawatt hours on the batteries. So that's why on PCS level, we see 5.2 megawatts is going to be really nice. Also, we are working instead of a PCS of maximum 690 volts AC, maybe why not switching to 720? So we are always one step ahead of the request, but let's see how the market evolves, because it's not a trend that a PCS supplier needs to say. Is that basically what are the requirements that are going to be requested, and with that we will evolve the technology. We are always, and we are basically an R&D firm, let's say, and we are always looking for developing new technologies, new PCS, new functionalities, and that is basically what we like. We take these new trends and we design the manufacturing plan of this new technology, of this new product, and then we go to the market with it.
And I'd like to briefly touch on artificial intelligence. It's a big topic. Do you see future models becoming even more modular or AI-driven?
Yes, I think so. I think AI is already, let's say, a reality, and some companies like Trina, they are using the AI to improve processes and also to develop algorithms to help to better monitor the cell and the balancing and all the mechanisms to improve safety and reliability. But in the future, yeah, for sure, who knows?
And Natalia, how are solar module clients thinking about storage today?
Well, I think everybody's thinking about storage. Everyone that is part of, let's see, the energy industry in general, and especially in utility. And most customers, especially in Europe, if they have not already done a pilot, they are very close to doing a pilot. I think right now there is more is like we are in the beginning. We are in this starting stage of storage as a main market solution. Like we're in that process of making that transition and having it as a main market solution. The thing is mostly that financially there are still a lot of risks involved because storage is right now the most expensive part of a project. In the beginning, it was modules. Now it's changed, and now storage is that big question, and everybody now is looking at suppliers for help. Like, we want to understand this. We want to understand the risk. We want to understand what do we have to consider. O&M is especially a big part in storage because the investment is very big, and you have to have it for 25 years. And I mean, 20 years ago, thinking about a battery system that would last you 25 years was unthinkable. Like you would always say 5 years. Every 5 years, you would have to renew solar batteries. And now we're talking about equipment that lasts 20, 30 years for the development of a project. And that financially is something that customers are asking us, what do we do? What we consider? How do we make this bankable? Safety, reliability, the cycles is something that customers are very focused right now because it's ensuring that that investment is going to be there for a long time. And I think those are right now everybody's in storage. Everybody's trying to take out those first projects and construct a very stable and financially safe projects, because renewables have had problems in the recent years, especially with the merge part of zero prices in midday. And storage is that solution of getting those hours in the morning and those hours in the night where you have money, you make money. So it's the solution of giving financial stability, but you have to know what you're installing. So I think that's where we are at right now with customers. Customers are doing that first step evolution on project development, construction.
And that leads me very nicely to my last question, which is about adapting to change. How are Trinasolar and Power Electronics responding?
So on my case, on TrinaStorage, we base on customer-driving innovations. So we develop tailored systems shaped by real-world feedback. We also work hand-to-hand with the customers, with EPCs, with off-takers, taking their feedbacks to product innovation, product improvement throughout all the project life cycle. Finally, with regulations, we adapt to other regulations, new coming regulations, try to meet specific safety and environmental standards for the project on site, so to building, to make, to be able to construct the project indeed.
And how about power electronics?
Well, to say from our side, and as the beginning as Power Electronics, and basically how it was founded, is that we are looking for the partnership with the clients. It's like we are not looking to sell our equipment. We are looking to have a good relationship with them. And regarding a project timeline point of view, it's like we are always going to be there. Maybe if it's needed a retrofit because the product that you have 1 year and the request and the new requirement from year 10, it cannot be or is not compatible with the product that you have, we are going to make a retrofit on site to make the product comply with the new topics. And we have done it. For a matter of example, in Mexico, we even supply some solar inverters in 2016, 2017, and there was an update on the grid code on 2020, and the solar inverters, all of the solar inverters that were installed in Mexico, not only from our plant, but from all other competitors of ours, didn't comply with the grid code. So it was needed to do a retrofit on the inverters. And it's like, okay, let us design what is needed to do, not to change the equipment, because it's really, there's a high cost to change all the equipment, but let's plan a retrofit. Let's see what is needed on the hardware point of view, the software, we are going to develop it, and let's see what is needed to change on a hardware point of view. We are going to change it, and that's it. So our trend with the customers is to always have a good relationship with them, being open books whenever it's needed a retrofit on site for the products. And from our side, we always try to design and create products that may be able to comply with the requirements 10 years, 15 years from now. It's quite difficult because you don't know what they are going to request, but we are always looking for that.
And how do you stay adaptable to work with multiple project partners and evolving technologies?
It's quite complex. It's quite complex. And not only about the partners and clients and everything, but the markets. The markets are really different one from another. Because to be honest, we could be with only one client that has projects in 10 different countries. And the topic is there. Not all the countries request the same. So how do you design a product that is going to be in 10, 20, or 30 different countries? Basically, what we do is that we design for the worst case scenario. In this case, right now, on a grid requirements point of view, is Australia. Australia is incredible. I personally love it. Why? Because it's really difficult to comply with the grid code. So basically, if you comply with the grid code in Australia, you can work everywhere. That's it. So from our point of view, it's like we always design our products and we always go on an R&D point of view to develop the hardest things in the world on a technological point of view. So once you have that, basically you can work anywhere.
And what? Oh, go on, sorry.
I think that also software has begun to be super critical in these type of smart control equipment, especially storage has given a light. I mean, in the end, artificial intelligence or control system, grid adaptability, many things in the end can be solved with enhancing software. So you have to put good equipment in the beginning that is adaptable to new software requirements, because that's where we're leading. I mean, in the end, renewables are pathing away of control, of intelligence, of smart energy, not just, basic mechanical, no, smart energy with a lot of data, with a lot of control, with a lot of O&M. So I think software is becoming a critical issue in the energy transition.
And how do you keep your finger on the pulse in terms of evolving customer and market needs?
So I think it's very important to take part on conference, fairs, and roundtables around the world, so that you keep up to date on what is going on, stay in touch with the main actors in the energy storage field, and also be ready for the upcoming changes, I would say.
And Diego, what do you value most in terms of a long-term technology or development partner?
Well, to be honest, is basically what most of the customers are looking for is to have well, basically as Natalia was saying, a really good, reliable product that may be able to work on all the future cases that you might have. So basically, you need to have a really good modular equipment, reliable equipment, really advanced on software, and that basically you can update that equipment on a software point of view on the future for the new requirement that might come. So let's say from our side, we are always updating the softwares of the PCS, and not only the PCS and the inverters that we have right now under manufacturing phase. It's like we are also looking for new improvements on the old generations, because one inverter that we sell is an inverter that is going to be working for minimum 20 to 25 years. So you need to be working on that equipment for that amount of years. So you need to always be at the front line of the trend on a technological point of view. So we are always working on new improvements on R&D, and Natalia was saying software. And to be honest, from our side, the software is the future. That's it. Everything related to AI, software. That is the conclusion. So from our side, yes, R&D, development of software, and to update the PCS, because the hardware, to be honest, the hardware or the PCS is not that difficult. The difficult part is the software. That's it.
And Natalia, what trends are you seeing in the solar market that could impact the future of storage?
Well, from my side, what I always see is that we want the bigger, the better. The bigger, the better. And it's like mind-blowing thinking that 4 years ago, you would be installing a 350-watt module with a 175 kilowatt inverter with, let's say, hyper big 1 megawatt hour storage system. And now we have 710, 750 watt modules. We are talking about megawatts of inverters, and I think the latest is 6 megawatt hours in storage. So I think here R&D is key. And in the end, what pushes us is both the financial and that hunger to be bigger and better, more reliable, more efficient, but bigger, always bigger. And in that, we all have to be, I mean, if you're not on it, I mean, thinking 5 years ahead, you're out. You're out. So R&D is the key.
Always one step ahead.
Yeah, always one step ahead.
Thank you so much to our experts for answering those questions.
Thank you,
Thank
Beth.
you very
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
giving
A
us
pleasure.
this opportunity.
Every day, more and more people are asking, how do we store renewable energy safely, reliably, and affordably? So we turned to our LinkedIn community, industry professionals, clients, and curious minds, and gathered some of their top questions for our guests. We're going to start off with the first question. Could batteries have really helped during the Spanish blackout, or would it have been the same outcome? Natalia, would you like to take that one?
Well, I think it's very difficult to say exactly since we still don't know what happened in the blackout. But I do think that batteries are going to be the prevention of any future blackout that comes. So batteries are what is going to maintain the grid, stabilize the grid, and in general, along with everything that we have discussing, make it smarter. I mean, batteries have a faster response time, have more capability, have the power to grid form as well as to inject whatever the grid is needing in a matter of milliseconds. So even if we do not know what happened, we do know that for us to prevent any future blackout, batteries are going to be 100% necessary.
Thank you, Natalia. And moving on to our next question, how long do these big batteries actually last before they need to be replaced?
Well, the standard life of the batteries is 20 years, all until they reach a certain amount of a percentage of state of health. But now customers are very challenging and demanding and are asking for 25 plus years with the same system. So this is, this is stretching our capabilities. And in some cases now it's becoming more popular, the augmentation, which means to replace or the existing batteries for another ones so that you can maintain the life of the whole system longer.
And moving on to our next question. Are battery storage systems only for big companies, or will homes and small businesses start using them too?
That's a good question. Let's say on battery point of view, yes, I think that the batteries that, as Enrique was saying, during the process of augmentation, maybe the batteries that you get rid of, you can change them and use new ones. But that old generation, where are you going to use it? So maybe yes, there could be used on industry cases, or maybe separated on the modules that they are built in, and maybe switch them to, I don't know, electric vehicles could also be an option. But yes, the development of this technology is to be reusable on the future. So I think that on the battery point of view, yes, at PCS level, to be honest, the efficiency is the same always. So on a PCS point of view, it doesn't need to be changed. That's it.
And now for our final question. What's the biggest misunderstanding that people have about energy storage?
So people, especially non-experts, tend to think that they are dangerous systems. I mean, now they're putting all the companies putting a big focus on the safety. It's not only trying to avoid the explosion, it's also to do with try to make the explosion as safe as possible by implementing different safety technologies like blast panels or fire suppression system. So, I mean, it's all about that.
Thank you. Diego, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, let's say, I think that the clients or some markets are really nervous about two topics. The first one, they think that these energy storage projects are not profitable. And the second one is like all the functionalities that are actually already working on some projects, they think that it's a lie. And it's like, my God, the technology is already there. It's already tested. It's already working in some markets. Why don't you trust it? It's like, why are you going again with the conventional energies? And there are some markets that are going with the old stuff. And basically one of them, and it's hard for me because I'm Mexican, one of them is Mexico. Mexico is going again with the old stuff, with the conventional energies. And it's like, you don't need to. You can install now batteries and it will be better, cheaper, and actually more reliable for the grid. So I think these two topics.
Thank you for sharing your expertise, and thank you to our LinkedIn community for your questions. Energy storage isn't just a product, it's a promise. A promise that the sun doesn't have to stop shining when the sun goes down. Thanks to TrinaStorage, that promise is becoming a reality, one battery at a time. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the tech, the vision, and the people powering the future. Until next time, keep chasing the sun. Goodbye.